What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to All of the Market. Today we're breaking down two of the biggest, most misunderstood forces in the stock market: quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. These sound like fancy Wall Street terms, but don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll understand them so clearly you'll be explaining them to your friends like, I know Kung Fu, straight out of the Matrix. So let's get into it. What is quantitative easing, QE? Think of QE like the government saying, I'm gonna need a bigger boat, from Jaws, because the economy is struggling and needs help staying afloat. When the economy slows down, the Federal Reserve steps in and prints money, digitally, and uses it to buy things like government bonds and mortgage-backed securities. Why? Because when the Fed buys these assets, money flows into the system. Banks have more cash, interest rates stay low, borrowing gets easier, and people are more likely to spend and invest. This is why QE usually makes stocks go up. More money chasing assets means prices rise. It's basically the Fed saying, winter is coming, but we're turning the heat on. QE was heavily used after the 2008 financial crisis and again during the COVID crash. And every time, markets said, I'll be back, like the Terminator, stronger than before. What is quantitative tightening, QT? Now let's talk about the opposite side of the coin, quantitative tightening, or QT. QT is when the Fed says, all right, party's over. Instead of adding money, the Fed pulls money out of the system. They do this by letting bonds mature without replacing them or by selling assets outright. This reduces the amount of cash floating around. Interest rates tend to rise, borrowing becomes more expensive, and risk assets like stocks and crypto can struggle. QT is like switching from easy mode to hard mode in a video game. Same game, way less forgiveness. QE versus QT, simple comparison. Let's put this in everyday terms. QE is like giving the economy a credit card with no limit. People spend more, assets rise, and optimism is high. QT is like cutting up that credit card. Spending slows, risk comes down, and markets get more selective. QE fuels greed. QT fuels fear. QE says, to infinity and beyond. QT says, you shall not pass. Why this matters to investors? Here's the key takeaway. Markets don't just move on earnings and news, they move on liquidity. When QE is happening, dips often get bought. When QT is happening, rallies often get sold. Understanding where we are in that cycle helps you avoid being the last one holding the bag when the music stops. So next time you hear QE or QT on the news, don't tune out. You'll know exactly what it means and why markets are reacting the way they are. If this helped you understand the market just a little better, hit that like button, subscribe to All of the Market, and remember, in the stock market, it's not what you know, it's when you know it. I'll see you in the next one. Upward trend.